Hello guys, my name is Dmitry and this is the second video about overlay module, which is the part of Angular Material CDK, and the link to the first video you will see somewhere up there. And I would really recommend you to check this video out first, because it would give you some more context and understanding what we actually built and what is the overlay module and what it does. But if you're already aware about the Angular module or you have seen my previous video, you can skip this part. In this video, we will learn such advanced topics like positioning of our overlay, positioning strategies, then we will have a look on the different scrolling strategies, and we also built our custom one. And also then I will show you some smaller features, but they might be really useful for you. The last thing I would like to mention before to start is that I split this video into 4 sections, and every section has its own time code, which I placed in the description, so use these time codes to easily navigate through the video. Okay, enough talking, we are getting started. Okay, overlay directive exposes a property called overlay keydown, which emits value every time user press any key. So we can subscribe to this observable and console log the output, and let's have a look how it works. Well, anytime I press the key on my keyboard, I see the result in my console output. Well, where it could be useful for us, it could be useful if we want to implement such a functionality like navigation through the list of the results by pressing the arrow up or arrow down key on our keyboard, and by pressing the enter key we want to kind of select this value or do some another action with this. But we will not do this in this video because of lack of time. But I have good proposal to you, and if next few months this video will reach 100 likes, I will be happy to create this video and implement this functionality for you. So share this video with your friends, colleagues. The sooner we will reach this amount of likes, the sooner I will create this video. But I will use this functionality to fix one bug which we have in our overlay right now. And the bug is actually when we focus on our input and then we press escape button, we can see that our input still has this active input class, which is wrong, because we expect that only pack drop click event can close our overlay. The truth is that directive has built-in functionality which closes or detaches the overlay on the escape when escape button was pressed. And one of the solution what you might think would be, it's go to our template and attach some property like prevent escape key or something like this, but it will not work. You will not find such a property because it's kind of hard coded into the directive, and there is the proof. You can see here the overlay directive source code, and in our create method we have such a line where we subscribe to keydown events, and if we encounter the escape key and there is no modifier key like control or shift or command on the Mac, we just detach the overlay, and that's actually the problem we have to fix. And by the way, there is looks like the memory leak because we subscribe to this, but I cannot see the place where we unsubscribe. What do you think? Write in the comment. Did we discover the potential memory leak in Angular Material? But I don't know. I think they have some mechanism to prevent this, but let's see. It needs more investigation. But in order to fix my current bug, I will create the escape pressed observable, which is observable of keyboard event, and here I will just copy my connected overlay keydown, and in the pipe I just want to filter out everything except the escape button, right? So where I can import this escape constant, there is actually the place, and we can import this from the Angular CDK key codes. Let's have a look inside. What do we have there? There is a key codes, and you can see, poof, almost, no, even not almost, this is the whole possible keys, like a constant, so you can import and use this in your code base without any problem. And what I want to do is to merge our backdrop click and this new stream, and let's see how it works. So now I focus on my input, and then I click outside, and it works as I expected. But there is one better way how we could solve this issue, and we can remove this our stream and replace it with the connected overlay detach property, which is also observable and emits value every time we detach our overlay from the view, right? So let's have a look how it works. It works as before, so that's fine. And I just wanted to show you this use case with the key down, just to demonstrate you the where it could be applicable, right? And we moving to the next topic. Okay, let's go back to our browser and have a look on our current state. We can see that our width, the width of our panel is the same as the input width, right? But what will happen if we make the panel width slightly bigger? So I'll go to to my styles and change the width. Well, we can see now that panel was aligned by the left side and the rest is kind of stuck out here. I would like to have it aligned by center, right? So let's implement it now. First, let's create some property called positions, and it's gonna be the array of connected positions. And then I have to assign this in my template. So for the property connected overlay positions, we add our positions. And let's have a look what this interface tells us. And this interface tells that we have to define at least four required properties, which is origin X, origin Y, and overlay X and overlay Y. Okay, let's do it. So I will create the array and I will add so far next values. Let's save it and have a look how it works. Okay, nothing has been changed and it's actually correct behavior because the values which we added before was kind of default behavior, default values, right? And now we want to place it or align this by center, so we have to change it somehow. But how to change, how to read this, for this, let's have a look at next slide. All right, here we have our origin element, which in our particular case represents our input. And every origin has kind of start, center, and end anchor. Yeah, I will name it like anchor. And we also have our connected overlay, which also has the start, center, and end anchor. And let's say we want to match the center of our origin element and the start of our connected overlay. If we do this, our connected overlay will be shifted like this. So it takes the center of the origin element and match it with the start of our connected overlay. So if we want to connect end of the origin element with the start of the connected overlay, it will end up like this. And let's assume that now we want to match the start of our origin element with the center of our connected overlay. So it will be moved to the start. It will be mapped like this. So I hope you understood the idea behind this. So let's implement this in our code. Okay, knowing how it works, we can adjust our origin X and overlay X. so we can have this panel aligned by center. Okay, and looks good, but there is another issue. What happens if we have not enough space at the bottom? You can see that our panel was cut off, which is not good behavior, and I would like to have something like, if there is no enough space at the bottom, I want to place my panel at the top of the on top of the input. Okay, let's solve this issue right now. So you may probably notice that we have the array of connected positions. So it means that it's possible to add multiple values, not only one, right? So what the idea of this everything? Well, our connected overlay directive takes the array of all possible positions. It takes the first positions and check if there enough space for current one. If yes, this position will be applied. If there is no space, it takes the second position, tries to apply this, and also checks if there is enough space, it applies, otherwise it goes to the very end and the last position will be applied if the previous position didn't work out. So that's how it works. And we can adjust the last position, and we can see that now our panel was placed at the top of the input. But we have still this issue with the gap at the top. You see, if we have panel at the top, we have the gap. So we can attach our offset y the same how we did in the before in the template. We can do it with this positioning, and now you can see that we have no gaps at all for our position between our panel and input. And also there is one useful feature: you can add panel class for some certain position. So if I have my panel at the top, I will attach this no enough space at the bottom class to my panel and add some, I don't know, change color probably for this particular position or something like this, so I have control over it. And if I have enough space, you see this class is disappeared. Well, that's it with positioning itself, and we're moving to overlay position strategies. All right, what about the position strategies? Well, there are two position strategies. First one is a flexible connected, which requires some origin like we have right now. And there is a global position strategy. The global position strategy, it's responsible for positioning relative to our entire browser window, right? And in our particular case, with our directive works only the flexible connected position strategy. But if we create completely new overlay using the overlay service, we can attach our global strategy. To do this, I'm going to create some component which gonna be our dialog. So we will implement some dialog window, and I will use the NX workspaces extension for VS Code to easily generate the component for me. And then in our Angular app component template, I will create the button, and on click it will call some create dialog method. Let's create this method in our DS file. And the second thing, we have to inject a couple of services there, and the first one will be our overlay, and the second one will be our position builder, right? And inject this as well. And in create dialog, I want to create actually my overlay, and this method accepts the object which has properties like we saw for the directive. In my case, I want to also have the backdrop here. And then I have to assign this to overlay ref, right? And then I have to create the portal. I have to create the new portal, and as a constructor value, I have to pass my dialog component. And after this, we have to attach our portal, and let's see how it works now. Okay, that works, but it looks ugly, so we have to add some text for our button, and let's add some styling for this. I want to have width 10 rem, height 10 rem, and background white. And let's have a look now. Now it's way more better, and it stick to the left top corner. And now let's apply our position strategy, our global position strategy to this. And how I do this, I call this position builder, and there it provides two methods. One is actually three methods, but one is deprecated, and we need the global, and this global has the center horizontally method and center vertically, which is in theory should place our dialog window by the middle of our window. Let's check this out. And yeah, that works as expected. But if we click the backdrop, it doesn't disappear. So we can actually listen for this event, like by calling the backdrop click method in our overlay reference, and we can detach if this event happens, right? So let's check this out. I'll just open the dialog, click on the backdrop, it disappears. So works as expected. And you actually can do a lot of things. You can listen for the keydown events and subscribe to it, and as example, catch the escape key press event and close your backdrop as well. And the last thing I want to do is to add mat button directive to our button and import this module in my app module, app module file, and I will have a nice design for my button. Now I click the backdrop and it disappears, so it works as I expect. The next stop is scrolling strategies. So let's create our container slightly bigger, and let's see how our overlay behaves on the scrolling event. Okay, let's focus on our input, let's scroll, and you see that it's stick to our origin, and if it's behavior that we expect, that's fine. If we want to change this, we can do this, and we can do this by injecting the scroll strategy options, which this is the service which provides us predefined options, and I will create the scroll strategy property, and we'll copy this and assign in our template. We have a special property for this called connected overlay scroll strategy, and I will add my strategy here, and I will assign to this strategy one of the provided scroll strategies, and the first one will be block, and you can see that it blocks completely scrolling on my page. I'm trying to scroll, I cannot because there was attached class, the global scroll block, so there's no way to scroll with this strategy. The next one will be the close, and if I have the opened, once I start to scroll, it disappears immediately. And this close also accept the parameter called threshold, and this is amount of pixels which you need to scroll first until it will be closed. So I scroll now, I scroll, and once I reach 100 pixels, it disappears. All right, so that was easier. Let's remove this close and replace with the noob. Noob, it does nothing. Actually, we can see it in second. I focus, I scroll, and my panel is just stuck on one place, and that's it. That's everything what does noob. And the last option, it's reposition. Reposition, it's default value. That's behavior is the same like we saw at the beginning of this section. But what if any of these strategies is not satisfied us? Yeah, okay, we can create our custom one, and I want to have something like, if I start to scroll, I want to see the dialog window which asks me if I want to proceed with the scrolling, because if I proceed, then my overlay will be hidden, otherwise it just do reposition. And I also to blur my input in case if I want to close my panel. All right, so how we can implement this? To implement this, we have to just create a class which I will call like I know, confirm scroll strategy, and it should implement one interface called scroll strategy, right? And I have some already predefined code. I'll just, to save your time, I will just add this and just tell you what this code does. And what we have here, it's overlay property, and there will be attached the reference to our overlay. There's the input, the reference to our input in constructor, and there is the method. I will move this attached to the top because it happens the first. So it happens when we attach our overlay here. I get the reference to my overlay and assign this to the class property, and in enable calls directly after the attach. And once we attach this, I want to add event listener, and I'm going to listen for the scroll and attach the handler for this. But of course, in real application, you would use something like ngZone and to optimize the performance. But for now, it's okay. I just want to show you the use case for this. All right. And in disable, I disable called once we detach our overlay from the view. And on this case, I want to remove our event listener because we don't need this anymore. And there is some logic in the scroll listener. So I have the confirm if yes, if user confirms that he or she wants to close it, we will just detach our overlay and we do blur event on our input. Yeah. And we just return. Otherwise, we just update the position of our panel. All right, so let's copy this name of the class and create the instance of this class and assign to scroll strategy. Here the constructor parameter, I need to provide the input element, and let's check how it works. I scroll and I see this message, and if I click cancel, it just does repositioning, and if I click OK, it disappears. The one problem with this that we again see this bug with the input active class. That's the problem. Here's the problem with actually CDK itself. There's a bug there, and the problem is that it doesn't emit detach event in case if we close this from any strategy, even if it's provided by CDK itself. And I don't know when the fix for this issue will arrive, but after some investigation, I came up with some solution, so you can use it for now, and once it will be fixed, I will maybe do some, I don't know, maybe a message or video about this, I don't know. But for now, the solution looks like this. I will create this is overlay detached stream, which so far observable of unknown, because I don't know, to be honest, what kind of type it will be. But let's see. Then I will just assign to this property the stream, which I want to start from the isPanel visible stream, and there will be switch map, and I will use if operator, which comes from RxJS, which actually checks the condition and returns. By the way, detachments is a void type. Yeah, remember this. We will change it later. But for now, yeah, if this if is true, it returns first condition, and otherwise the second. In our case, it will be empty if it's empty overlay ref, and returns the stream of detachments if in case if overlay ref exists. And the last thing I have to do, I have to have this actually async, because if we do this synchronously, this overlay ref will not exist at this point of time, because this value, this true from our stream isPanel visible, will not achieve the template until this moment and will not be rendered yet. So it will be always empty, always false. But with this delay 0, we will do this asynchronously, and it will be executed when this reference is existing. Okay. What we have to do now, it's replace this detach with our solution, and I have to move a little bit this code next next to show panel stream, and below this our new stream which we just created. Now I want to change this to the void because it's void type, and now it should work fine. So I focus on it, I scroll, I confirm, and you see that our CSS class was detached from the input, and it works as expected. Okay guys, that was it for today. I hope the information in this video was somehow useful for you, and yeah, I'm going to proceed to create the videos about Angular CDK. If you have some I don't know, certain topics, you can leave your proposals in the comment section. Otherwise, I will pick some topic up to me. It will be probably CDK portals, or I'm not sure in it. Let's see. What else? Yeah, subscribe to my channel if you like what I'm doing. Otherwise, thank you for your attention, and see you in the future.